ours. And we talk about how much we love coming down here. We love being around everybody with the A's. There's nobody that embodies how wonderful this organization is on the interior more than our friend Ken. Good morning, Ken. It's Dave. It's Jason. How are you? Thanks for joining us.
Hey, Dave and Jason, great to be with you. And I love the picture that you guys just painted of the field.
Ken? I do not hear Ken. There we go.
Hello, I'm here.
Ken. Hi. There we go. Hi, Ken. Now we got you.
Okay. Hey, Dave and Jason. I love the picture that you painted of the field down there. And Chad Huss is the groundskeeper who's been with the A's for over 2 decades, I think. And he does an incredible job. What you guys said was right. I think one of the first things I notice when I get down there and you step on the field is just how beautiful it is. It's incredible. I mean, there isn't one blade of grass that's out of place at the A's ballpark.
See the attention to detail. You know, he would know the groundskeeper's name.
And he'd be a great guest for you guys, because it's not just the field there at Hohokam in the backfield. It's also all the fields down, a mile south of where you guys are at the minor league complex, and he's responsible for all of that. And then you have to grow grass in the summertime when it's 115 degrees. So I think he has a pretty big challenge, and he really does a great job.
Well, that's one of the things that led us to that conversation a couple of days ago is, number one, what you just said. You not only do you have to do this, you have to do this in the middle of the desert when it's incredibly hot. Secondly, it just baffles me, as I told Jason, I have a 100-foot by 50-foot patch of rectangular lawn in my backyard that no matter what I do, I can't keep it green and I can't keep it pretty. These guys have, a mile square of this grass, not just here, but as Jason pointed out earlier, the fields all behind us, as you just said. Somehow I want him on to admire him and compliment him, but also some home gardening advice as well. Ken.
Yeah, I think so too. And there's a lot of pressure on those people. Let's say you messed up and you put the wrong chemicals out, and now the infield grass gets burned out, right? If it happens in your lawn, your neighbors notice it. If it happens at a ballpark, the whole world notices it. So that's a lot of pressure to me.
Very true. As we're talking with Ken Korach, the voice of the A's. Ken, you've been through whatever cycle someone would deem the A's, right? You've had great teams that spent money. You've had teams that have maybe been unheralded and didn't, and still were effective and competitive. I don't know. What's your feelings of going into this season when they have stripped down some very key players, but everybody we've talked to here, Ken's like, bring it on. We're ready to go. So what's your kind of preseason analysis of what you're going to expect from the A's?
Well, that's one of the great things about the spring, and that is that hope springs eternal, of course. But, it's a year of transition for sure. And the biggest thing for me, having been down there, for the last week and a half, is that it's the land of opportunity. So there's a tremendous amount of competition. And it's the first time in a long time that I can remember that there are a lot of spots open on the ball club, and especially in the bullpen. There may be as many as 6 or 7 available spots in the pens. So it's been frustrating, obviously, and the clubhouse was rocked, with the trades of Chapman and Olsen that came on the heels of the earlier deal of Bassett. But, and we talked about that during the first broadcast, but once you've dealt with that, now you focus on the players you have. And the A's felt really good about the return they got in those trades. And I think most of the marquee prospects they got back are probably a couple of years away. I'm a terrible prognosticator, but it would be impossible, I think, to sit here and think that the A's would have the kind of club they've had in the last several years. But you play the games. And I'm thrilled with the job that Mark Kotze is doing. He was thrown into a very difficult situation. As a rookie manager, you want everything to go, and you guys had him on the air yesterday. I know you want everything to go perfectly during the spring. And now you have the lockout and a shortened spring where everything gets accelerated. So, we'll see what happens. And, if I think the one thing, if Frankie Montas and Sean Manaea are with the ball club opening day, it really gives the club a much better chance, obviously, because they're going out on the road. I can't imagine a more difficult trip to start the season, to play Philadelphia, Tampa Bay, and Toronto in 10 games. But if you have 2 of the elite starting pitchers going out there and maybe pitching a couple of times each during that road trip, it really would buoy your hopes so you don't feel like you get kind of buried right out of the blocks.
Ken Korach joining us. Ken, back to talking about the clubhouse, as you were saying, and everything, all the narrative surrounding the A's. It's the psychology that fascinates me. Max Scherzer makes himself $3 million more than the entire A's roster as of today. And obviously, a lot of these players, the bulk of these players, the Trouts, the Garrett Coles, the Strasburgs, the highest paid players in the game, they're there because of that talent and because of how good they are. But I've always thought with the A's, it's almost like a talent versus hunger, which one wins. On the A's side, obviously there's talent there, but it seems one thing this organization is very good at for external reasons is harnessing that hunger. Yeah, they might not have the Scherzers and Coles of the world, but they've got guys, as you said, that are hungry. The sky's the limit. They've got opportunity. They're not complacent. They're not content. And this team has always managed to harness that very well. Do you think there's something to that psychology?
Well, I think you're onto something. And the other thing is that the A's have never thrown in a towel on a season. And this goes back to when Billy Beane became the GM during the 97 campaign, even before that with Sandy Alderson. So there's a real winning culture with the club. And I think and I've talked to players who've been acquired, like let's say mid-season, they walk into the clubhouse, there's this expectation of winning. And nobody thought the A's were going to win in 2012. And they did. And so having those kinds of expectations, I think, are really important. And the other thing is that the A's have always stressed, pitching, defense, taking advantage of the vast expanse in the outfield at the Coliseum. And so those things, I think this year, the importance of those things are even more heightened. The A's are really going to have to play solid fundamental and be a very good defensive team. And I think they will be this year. And so, the winning, they've been in the postseason 11 times since 2000, and that hasn't happened by accident.
Ken, I've been thinking about you. You brought up earlier, and I think it was perfectly said about the spring land of opportunity here. So, maybe a name or two that A's fans may not know yet, but hey, look, if they get 500 at-bats and play majority of the games, might put up numbers that all of a sudden that's the next A or two that we go, that's a big piece of this future. Is there a player or two that you think the organization or yourself kind of has their eye on for what could be a big year?
Well, the first guy that stands out would be the center fielder, Christian Pache, whom the A's acquired from Atlanta in the Olsen deal, and for the last 2 or 3 years was considered maybe one of the top 4 or 5 outfield prospects in the game. He has tremendous talent. And, on the scouting scale, where scouts rate a player on the scale between 20 and 80, 80 being is off the charts. You never hear of a guy that's rated 80 at any one of the skills, but he's considered defensively pretty close to an 80 runner, thrower, defensive player. Now his hit tool has been behind. But I think that he's, was one of the really intriguing things about spring training is getting a chance to see some of these young guys. So, and I think especially because Laureano has to sit out the balance of his suspension to start the year, Pache has a pretty good shot to start in center field. So he's an electric talent. And if he blossoms, then he's going to make that Olsen trade look a whole lot better for the Athletics. The other would be Kevin Smith, the infielder that the A's acquired from Toronto. His natural position is shortstop. I'm not sure he's going to play there, especially with Elvis. He might be the A's third baseman to start the season, although there's a lot of competition there. So to me, in terms of position players, he's another guy that I think we should keep an eye on, who has limited time in the big leagues. He had 2 stints last year with the Blue Jays, but I think he has a chance to break camp with the club this year.
The legendary voice of the Oakland Athletics, Ken Korach. You will hear him along with all his broadcast partners on Sports 1140 KHTK throughout the summer, all the way into the fall, as we prepare for yet another, no matter what it's going to be, it's going to be an interesting Oakland Athletics season. Ken, we always appreciate your time. We look forward to talking to you throughout the summer. You're always very gracious to come on with us, and good. We were glad, even though we're on the phone now, we were glad to at least be able to say hello to you through the glass the other day. We'll see you soon.
It's always great to see you guys, Dave and Jason. As you know, we deeply appreciate the support we've gotten over the years from KHTK. It means the world to us. So Keep up the great work, you guys, and thanks for having me.
Thank
Thank you.
you. That's Ken Korach. He is